Hello everybody and welcome to your daily lighting critique. Today is Thursday, yes, and we've got a bunch to get through today, so we're going to jump right into it. So we've got some videos, we've got some stills. I've also got a couple questions I wanted to talk about right off the top. The first one was a question from Abishek about implementing like a gobo layer into a comp. So he submitted this environment, these characters, and then this is like a gobo map. And I'm just going to show you guys how to implement that. I also have got a Maya file open from Kat that is taking us through her animation, and I just kind of wanted to show a brief little setup of how I would kind of look at some of the lighting on this. So this is just like without the shaders and everything, but I just kind of want to talk about how I would position that stuff a little bit. But first off, I wanted to talk about Abishek's test, and I'll go ahead and recreate this. This is just me playing before the start of the presentation. So I'll just like build it from scratch over here. So here we go. Okay, so we've got this built up together. We want to add this gobo to it. So the main way that you would add something like this in is like ambient occlusion or something like a black and white image like this. You usually multiply it in because the white values are just 1 and they don't alter anything, and the dark values make the image darker. But this, with the way the image is right now, is actually going to cause a problem. So I'll go ahead and show you that real quick. So if I take this and multiply it in, you're going to see immediately that it just kind of like darkens everything. Right, and that's because like if I'm, as I'm hovering over these values, if you look down here, you'll see they're definitely not 1. They're not even close to 1. They're 0.03, and that's multiplying down the image into a darker value. So we need to do a little prep work on this in order to get this to work. The first thing that we want to do is just adjust the black and white points on this, probably the white point, and just like really. Like I saw that was like 0.03, just do 0.05. And now we're like, okay, this feels more like a black and white image. But as I hover over this, actually let me go and reduce this down a little more so you can show you that. As I hover over this, you can see that this is now, in that those numbers down there, like 1.85. So you can see from this, it's not, if you look over here, it actually brightens it a little bit. So that's not totally what we want. We want the whites to just be at 1 and just kind of keeping things the same. So we control that by adding a clamp node. And what a clamp node does is it takes these bright values and clamps them. It doesn't allow them to exceed 0 or 1. So now it's just in this area. As you can see, the middle of the frame is now problematic because if you look at this and we think about our multiplying, we're darkening all of this stuff inside the room, which includes our characters. Now we could add it in before the characters, but it would still be problematic because we don't want it to darken that much. So the easiest way around this is I just kind of roto isolate the area and just say I just want it to be like outside this window. And I'll actually invert that. And then add a merge and just make this a, how does it get mask and matte mixed up? Yeah, we'll do it as a mask. And now you can see it's just isolating that. And this is the alpha channel of that, but again, not perfect because now it's just cutting that out. Instead, we want to layer this over a constant white, which is 1111. And now it's like that, right? This is our image, this is 111, nothing in here gets affected, everything is hunky-dory over here. And now with this multiply control, we can control this. Cool, but as you can see, there's some more control that we would want to this. Like if I wanted to add color into the shadows, the way that this is built right now makes it a little bit difficult. So the way that I would do adding like a little bit of color to this and give myself a little bit more control would be to actually take this and I want to find a way to just isolate the shadow areas, and the easiest way to do that is to invert it. And now you've got it inverted. And now we've got our shadows are white and everything that we're keeping the same is dark, which does the invert here. But let's say we didn't want this to be a multiply, and instead we want this to be a grade node. And now we can use that to pipe in some color. So now I can take this down. Oh, why is it doing it that way? Wait. Oh, I know. Because this is still the alpha channel. I forgot to shuffle it. So we want to shuffle this into the alpha channel of it. And we can just do that most easily by shuffling the red into the alpha. So now, instead of this being the alpha, which it was before, this is now the alpha. And there we go. So in this grade node, within this gain, I now have control over what's going on there. And I can take this down. I can now add some color to it. If I put it like something like this. And that's mostly how we would handle that. Now, the biggest... There's some questions that... I mean, there's some things that we would want to change about the gobo itself because it's super, super, super sharp. And really, when we see these things, the trees are pretty far away from the window itself. So we'd want that to be kind of blurred up a little bit, right? So we'd want some softening on the shadows. And you can play around with how much detail you actually want to see. But now you can see before and after, it really helps center our focus in on the characters sitting in this windowsill. So that's how we do that. Do you guys have any questions about that? All right, cool. So we've got Kat scene here that she was working on, and I kind of want I wanted to show you, Kat, before, and I'll give you a chance to, if you want to do it a different way. I just wanted to open up your Maya file and show you my approach to like this interior-exterior lighting setup that we were kind of talking about yesterday. So we've got this, and what I was saying before is I just kind of wanted to create some pockets of light for them to fight in, right? Like as they're going through, like it'd be cool if he was in the light here and she was in the light here, and there was darkness between them. And we also talked previously about how it would be nice to implement some exterior light into the scene, the way that we are here, because some of the reference that she had found has a lot of cool and warm light mixing, and that's really cool. So let's take a look at that. So here's the scene. We're going back out and show you. We've got these skylights up there, and they're kind of battling around in here somewhere. Lots of pipes, and lots of pipes for them to move around. So many pipes. So it's kind of nice. They're really only taking up like this one space, which is really, really nice. So like this is our stage, right? It's also odd that those objects disappear halfway through. I think that'll be...
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. I don't think that'll be a thing.
Because the camera angle's not facing it, so maybe, I don't know why it disappeared, but I guess...
I mean, it disappeared because he fell in that area, and they're like, oh no, I don't want him falling into those things. So it's fine. It's fine because there's so much chaos. I don't think it'll be a big issue, but... okay, so I've got this loaded. I think I've got it loaded in Redshift just because it's a little bit faster on my machine, just so I can show it to you guys. So the first thing I would do is I was looking at the, getting a light shining through that portal up top, and I'm just going to go ahead and, for this, I'm just going to go ahead and throw an area light up here, just because, you could do a portal light if you wanted, but I did some testing yesterday and just found that it was a little bit noisier. And what I want out of this light this isn't meant to be like a key light or anything. This is the light is going to be much more of like a skylight type of a thing shining through. And so we just kind of want, like, it's almost like a hazy, overcasty day, but it's also just going to provide a brighter element when they're looking up into the background. Let me just position this here. Okay. Now, if we fire this up, turn the exposure up just so we can see it on the inside. Let's go back to this. We'll fire up our renderer. So now we've got kind of light coming in from the top. And again, there's no shaders on any of this. Super bright. Let's go ahead and tone that down. We're going to go ahead and add a little bit of color to this to kind of make it like our skylight coming through. Again, just kind of an overcast day, not a lot of direct sunlight coming in that way. And then since this is kind of just like our ambient fill level, I don't want it to be quite this bright on top of him coming down. So we're going to go ahead and move this exposure into like the negative values and just keep it like a super subtle thing there. And now what we talked about was having some interior lights create some pockets around them. So what I would do is I would create things like, we'll go ahead and make some spotlights. Sorry, some of my hotkeys are breaking on me here. Frame selection. Okay, so we'll make this into a spotlight. Just make this bigger. And we'll kind of position this up over top of him as if it's like an interior, you know, just like a whatever light in a factory that just kind of hangs overhead and illuminates the ground. We'll kind of place that up here. Let's say it's kind of hanging from the rafters up here. And let me go ahead and rotate that downward. Make this bigger so I can see it. Rotate it down. And now let's look through and kind of really get a good positioning on it. So this is our main character here. And we just kind of want to zero it in on him. So let's just see what we got here. If I'm taking this light and adding some exposure to it, you know, you can see it's just kind of pocketing him here. And if I take this, you know, I could even make it a little bit smaller and softer around the edges, kind of bring it in, maybe make it a little bigger than that. And then what we're going to want to do is just kind of warm it up a little bit. So, because we want that warm to cool play. It's a little bit brown. Let's push a little more red. Yeah, just something like that.
So basically, kind of switching it from having it look like sunset light is coming in and making the spotlights look more like a warm color.
Yeah, because those would be like tungsten.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what we were talking about, like making it more like tungsten light. And then we can bring that in here, and then from here you can kind of, you know, you can configure it a little bit to create the best shaping on the character that we want. Let's go ahead and frame selection. Move that back out. And so yeah, so you can kind of pivot this around him. If you want the light coming in from this way, you can find an angle from this side to kind of hit him up from that way. Let's just leave it like I kind of had it in a good spot before, and now I kind of lost it. Just do it like that. Okay, so we have something like this shining in. It's a little bit bright on him, so again, we'll take it down for just a second. And now we would do the same thing with another light, but really focus it in on her in this particular pose.
Right.
And we can have that kind of shining over here. And then what happens is, again, we can do something like the character is now running and moving, and as he'll now like enter, like how cool is that? He'll actually enter some darkness.
Right.
And as he enters that darkness, then he can emerge into the light and snap and like go for this thing. So it's like, because at this point he's kind of villainous, right? He's kind of like, rah, and he kind of pops up. So kind of getting that, and now with the light position there, we can kind of read her and allow him to fall back into more darkness there. And then maybe like push these lights so you can see it. So it's really about taking those spotlights and just kind of highlighting our main area. And then additionally, you'll want to do things like, you know, then you'll take another light and then you kind of throw it. I think I've gone outside the factory, but like you kind of throw it back. Wait, I lost it.
Behind the vats and kind of have like
basically just like put some lights back there.
Yeah.
So if like but you kind of want the main lights to be focusing in on the middle there. So that's
so
good.
Should I keep any should I keep any non-spotlight, like kind of how I have it? Because I had it, originally I had like the sunset light was streaming in. Do I need to just change the colors on those lights to a cooler light? And then just have the spotlights be the sun, like the yellowy color?
Yeah, because like looking at it, like the sky is very cool when we see it. That's why I was assuming that would be a cooler light, right? So like when we see it there, like it's very blue.
Yeah.
So
make it look
and then
skylight.
And then and then make the interior lights the warm lights, and then they can really pick up on those specular highlights and because there'll be a smaller radius just because they're spotlights than the big area light, and they'll make some cool shapes, and then we can work on some character lighting from there a little bit. Okay,
so I just basically switch the colors and
and then just spot like a handful of spots, but there should be out of the gate one area light out there, and then try and work with just like 5 or 6 spotlights, just kind of like maybe 3 for the characters and like a handful others just kind of sprinkled around. No light linking yet. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Sound good?
Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. While we're in these animations, let's take a look at. Right. This is Ashley's. So I like the darkness here at the beginning. I think we need the brightness from before at the end. So the darkness is good. Brighter in the second half. So like. And because what happens is I don't know, I forget what we have a previous iteration, but actually I might have it in here. I think I have one in here. Yeah, so like
they won't even show themselves.
Like
they're so
like this, like the darkness that you have now, and then when that pops, the rest of the frame, the rest of the shot is that like this level of brightness, because then it's like a real shift in the lighting overall, because like we want a mood change, we want a difference in the whole thing. But I think the darkness is about right where we want.
They won't even show themselves. They're so
Does that sound good? You hear?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
For sure.
Cool. I like the reflections in the eyes; those are looking good.
Yeah, I changed those to do that with the flat plane like we were talking about last time.
Mm-hmm. These soda cans in the foreground here kind of go in and out of focus.
Okay.
Do you
I'll
see
look
that?
into that.
Yeah, it's like one layer has them in focus, the other one doesn't.
Okay.
So, and then I really like, you see like you're getting like these little specular highlights on them. If you could get some on these guys back here too, that would be cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then Keven.
Wait, hold on, Mike. Can I chime in for a second?
Ugh, you're the worst. I'm just kidding. Hi, Jasmine. How's it going?
I need to comment on Ashley's because I'm working with her.
Yeah.
Can you make a comment about it's getting a little too dark? I don't know if it's my screen, but it's getting a little too dark in the darks. It's just going pure black.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get like some shaping in the dark areas? Maybe some, like some specks or some soft, so it doesn't go pure black, because what I'm seeing is like pure black behind the monitor, the chairs pure black, like even in that corner. And I know I am on a color corrected screen, but I don't know, it's like we need more information there.
Yeah,
so I guess I just kind of said it, but
no, you're totally right.
Okay, that's it. I'm chiming out.
You can chime in as much as you. I'm sorry for teasing you. Jasmine has a better eye than anybody that I know. She can chime in whenever the hell she wants. Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
All right, bye, Jazz. Good talking to you. All right. So Keven. All right, cool. So the darkness on this I think works better. Again, we'll see how that cuts up later. I still think we need to get more shaping on her in the second area back here. Because she's getting a lot of frontal light, and I really do think that like this should be the dominant light source, and like this could fall into a little bit more darkness.
Yeah, that light coming in from screen left, I'm probably just gonna cut it because I tried it to kind of see if it was similar to what you guys did in the in your version of it. So I was like, let me see if I can match it and see. But yeah, I'm not really. It doesn't really do much for me.
The best thing about this shot in particular is that we hit this point where everything is behind this wall. At this point, you can do whatever you want. Like in this frame, you can switch.
I have so many lights for this small scene. It's like surprising because it's like one side and then the other side.
Yeah, yeah. You can really hide some movie magic back there. But once we get on this side, I think that this should be brighter, lighting her up, and then we should really kind of lose some of the influence from the doorway and the screen left stuff coming in, and really just make it all about that.
How does the back wall look on that? And like all the plants and all that stuff.
I would like for that to get a little bit darker, to get her to read forward a little bit. Because again, I'm looking at this light like kind of shining out from here, and this is such a solid lampshade that you wouldn't really get that much over here. And also, it's just getting a lot of light from the doorway, and not like I would expect all of this stuff to be key light on from this, and then like the lights falling off as we go that way.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think that'll be the main thing for now, and then we'll take a look and do some more specific stuff as we go forward. This is also a good one because I think it's the shortest shot in the sequence, so it's the fastest render. All right, cool. All right, let's hop into some stills. All right, Erin, you want to talk about buckets?
I mean, if you have really, I know you said you don't use Arnold as your main renderer, usually like at an office or anything. So, I just didn't know if you had any more clarification on what like redundant processes were. Because like, so for instance, the cubes have one shader that's like a mixed shader, so it's like two shaders going into one with like an opacity adjust.
Mm-hmm.
Upping my buckets to like 300 got it down. But for Ashley, who has multiple shaders on her, like upping the buckets increased my time by like a solid, if you look at the two differences, by like a solid minute and 15 seconds. So at 125 frames, you're talking an extra hour and a half to two.
Right.
So
I
just know.
Yeah, I don't have a good beat on situational situations that elicit like better render times when the buckets are smaller or bigger. For me in the past, I've just done like do this, you know, like you can do 5-minute tests at a lower resolution and just see, and you can safely extrapolate out from that data, you know, like in you know, if you're rendering, like even if you had this, like right now you have this at well, it's actually probably better to do it at the full resolution, but you can get a better idea of like if larger buckets work, if smaller buckets work. It's just like there's so much to calculate on each pixel between the shaders and the lighting values and everything. It's just sometimes it works better calculating a large mass all at once versus a smaller group.
Yeah.
I don't know a good protocol other than test and see.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, 2 hours.
Usually for, I'm not showing Arnold, but usually for V-Ray, larger the bucket mean you need more memory. If you have less memory, smaller buckets better. Depends on your memory.
Yeah, that's what I found interesting, because like I did a render at the standard, so Arnold defaults to 64 by 64, and like my memory usage was like half, and I was like, well, hell, crank it up, like let's go. Yeah, and then on the character, it actually increased my render time. I was like, oh, that's no bueno.
It's funny because the memory consumption actually went down with the larger oh no, I guess it did. It doubled. Sorry, I got that backwards. Yeah, it about doubled when you went to the larger buckets. But yeah, that makes sense because it's just holding a larger area to process. So I guess the idea would be like just maybe make a bucket for as large as your machine can optimally process memory, right? You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe, but like if you look at the memory where it uses double, which is 64 buckets, used 3,600 megabytes and was 530 time. Yeah. But the larger bucket used less, 1871. That's
but
weird.
Wait.
That is not holding up to what the Arnold docs say. So that's super weird.
Isn't it smaller if there's more?
Yeah, that's what I was like, am I thinking about this wrong? Because 300 buckets is like 300 for the entire thing, so that their individual size would be smaller, and 64 buckets would be only 64 things.
No, the bucket patch is larger. It's like a 300 by 300 pixel render.
Oh, so it's by pixel, not by divided by.
Right. So when you do the two, when you do 64 by 64 pixel buckets, like these little patches of 64 by 64 pixels render at one time, and then with 300 it was like, you know, this was rendering like in almost quadrants. You know, that it was so many pixels per render output or whatever. It was weird, but yeah. Now looking at that memory thing, that doesn't make any sense. So I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, it's also like a small sample size. It could also just be like you had Chrome playing a thing in the back. And although that wouldn't make sense. Maybe it was, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the bucket is smaller. It has to load more squares into memory.
I would say, like, if you have a lot of detail, a lot of information that will take you much longer to process, then better use a small buckets.
Yeah.
But if your machine can hold bigger buckets are better, because it's more smart with bigger buckets, and he can use more your memory with less buckets. But if it's too intense, like in a hair, so many samples, then it's smarter to use small bucket.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of what I'm doing is just a lot of prep work for my next thing's going to be like an animation. So I'm learning a lot about, like, you know, I'm going to try to do as much GPU stuff as I possibly can and stuff like that. Yeah. So like even like with ambient occlusion now, it's like when you switch over to GPU, the ambient occlusion passes go down by 75%, you know, like why would you not want to do that for as many passes as it makes sense to? And really, an extra hour and a half, while I'm sleeping, an hour and a half doesn't mean anything to me, right? Because I'm not around. But, I mean, I don't know, that's an hour and a half less of heat on my processor.
No, it's, I mean, you want it, because you want to keep that down because you never know. Like, you always want to optimize your renders as best you can because there's a million reasons why that comes up.
And I don't mind doing tests like this. If tests like this or what, I just didn't know if there was any like actual like hard numbers.
Listen, I mean, if you're finding something that's different than the Arnold documentation, you're not going to get anything much more official than that. But
sure.
Yeah. I also like frame -40. I think that's a good.
Yeah, I mean that's how I'm beating the make it.
That's how you're doing it. That's right. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay. Let's. That's been this week's episode of Bucket Talk. So we'll go ahead and move. But no, that was a really good. That was a good discussion on that. I'm glad we went through that. Thank you for asking, Erin. That was really good.
Yep.
All right, man. Okay, let's hop over into Abishek's. So we talked a little bit about. I mean, we talked about the Gobo thing. So let's do that. I still feel like her shirt feels, it's less bright than it was previously, but it's still feeling pretty. Pretty glowy and pretty flat. Like it's pretty bright throughout, and I would just like want to see a little bit more of her shadow on that screen right side. Same thing actually with this character. I'm realizing now that I like that we're seeing his red hero color of that paint, but on his fill side, it's still like, especially on his head, it feels pretty dusty, and like I would expect that to just get a little bit darker. It's almost like it's reflecting something kind of gray back there. I guess it's just the blue wall that's coming out as gray, but I would try and get the back side of his head to be a little bit darker, and make that like roll off into some darkness there. In terms of the interior of the room, I like that it's darker overall, and I like that we've turned this lights off, but it also like is missing some there's like a little bit of shaping that we can add in there, and it might be a couple things that we could try. Number one would be like a little bit of ambient occlusion back there to like get some contact between this and the wall and this and the wall. Another idea I had was that if we've got light coming down through this window, it would be hitting the floor here and actually bouncing light back up on this wall. So putting an area light down here and getting some light to kind of bounce up underneath it, maybe like a I'm talking like a real minor amount, just to create some variation back here as like the light bouncing up. But I think that, and then the Gobo and the characters, I think that's enough for this iteration. and then we'll do one more round before the submission. Any other thoughts on this one? Yeah. All right, cool. All right, Aldair. So this was from the community critique from this weekend. Jordan, I saw you had some comments on this as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about your notes on this updated version? Are you available to talk? I don't know if you're free. Putting you on the spot.
Wait, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I guess my thoughts were like to desaturate the background because it would really help to make the character pop out more, I think. And then maybe reduce the values of the rocks. It's still like really specky. It draws my eyes out a lot. And then I felt like both lights were fighting each other rather than like one being dominant. And I would have thought like the moonlight would be more dominant in this one, but I feel like it's the orange light that's really dominant, but I'm not really seeing where it would come from, I guess. So,
yeah. Yeah, because it's almost like that house is right next to him, but in reality it's very far back. And then like that light would dissipate a lot faster than the moonlight. So, and I do really like the way that this blue light's kind of shining in here. I think we can tone down, yeah, I agree that I think we can tone down this warm light a little bit to make that more of a fill. I generally think that we have a problem with this character where he doesn't get enough speck on his skin. But in this case, it felt stronger before. It feels a little less now. I think we could go another iteration with a little bit less because he feels almost metallic at this point. It feels like his face is almost metallic. I do love some of the detail in the wing. The detail on the rock is really good too. But you're right. Like we need a little bit more directionality on the shaping of him, where like one side is a little bit brighter than the other. Desaturating the background, yeah, will help. But I think there's a lot of really, really good small detail in the character, like this, like the roughness of his skin in here. Again, just picking up the tips of the nails. This kind of coming down the side. There's a lot of goodness in here that we can build from. It's just a matter of like you said, getting a little bit more focused on the character, downplaying the warm side because it is just meant to be like a little bit of a fill on this side. It's like I think it's pretty good in his face, maybe a little bit less, but it's just really dominant in the hat and coming down the side here. I love that you've incorporated I guess it's snow, whatever these sparks looking things are around him. I love that they're infused with the light of the area, if that makes sense. I like that we got like a warm one and a cool one. That's nice. Okay. All right, next up we have Alfredo. So this is, yeah. Oh, we don't have the reference on this one because I think the reference is really good for this. I am okay. Looking at this without the reference, there is more bounce light I think in here than there was previously. I would expect these to not be quite so sharp up here. Maybe a little bit of softness in the translucency, like as they go through, it kind of scatters the light a little bit. I'm wondering if this lamp, if we couldn't shift this a little bit warmer, like a little not warmer so much as more red. Just like as because it just kind of fits the mood of the soft scene that it's like a. I always think of like a yellow as being a more of a sterile warm color. But if you want to create warmth and comfort in the scene, I try and shift it a little bit more towards the red side. I would. Oh, it sounds like.
Can I just pop in like quick?
Sure.
The carpet, can we maybe, I don't know, maybe make it not like a white color? Because every time I look at it, it seems like it's a spotlight to me. Like I look at the carpet and not the characters because it's just so obvious.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe take down the saturation on it or change the color or make it look more carpety or something. So just to me, every time I see it, I just think there's a spotlight right there.
No, I think you're right because like if you kind of squint at it, your eye kind of goes down there as much as it does the window, and it's a harder read to get on a character when they're dark over light. So we really want to focus that in. So I think that's a good call. I think changing it to a darker color would be good. Because then if we did that, then we could kind of more focus in on here. I am surprised that there's not more darkness like inside this, and inside this. Like just the fill in the interior of the room feels it feels like there could be more shadow. And again, this could be an ambient occlusion pass on some of this stuff to just kind of ground them into place. Again, the eye on this character. I know it's really tricky. We've been working with it on pretty much everybody's shot this whole time, but it's very dark here, and it doesn't elicit an emotion from me. Again, Rubi and some others have some good eye things going on that I think could be a little bit. Yeah, so it's really just like getting it to read and maybe getting a little ding in there and a little reflection in there just to make him feel a little bit more human.
I think on this version, because of the way that we're looking at it, story-wise, is the girl supposed to be the focus or is the robot? Because the robot's facing camera, the girl's looking away. Mm-hmm. So if robot's facing camera, then robot should be the thing that's attracting our eye the most. Mm-hmm. So we would definitely need to put more in his eye and the little light on his head. Yeah. Because you're not, in this angle, you're not really having a relationship between the two, unlike the other ones where the camera's coming from the back and it looks like they're more interacting. Yeah. This one, they look like they're just completely not looking at each other.
Yeah, they're not.
So from a story
point.
Perspective, if you want the robot to be the main focus, we need to put more light or something on him.
Yeah. It's also like
right now he just kind of looks like a boy that's sitting there.
They look like friends or they're in a relationship and things aren't going well because he's not reading the book, right? Like he's looking past the book. She's looking outside.
They're having a fight.
They're having a fight. He's pretending to read, but he's thinking about the stupid thing he just said. Yeah. So I do, yeah, because it is important. Just because we don't see her face at all, that we really do want to focus in on him. And when we get there, it's just a little bit of a dead eye. So I think getting some more shaping, some more, like just reading it more as an eye in there would be really good. Right. So let's do next step. Okay, cool. I think, yeah, there was a good amount there. So Andre, older version versus the update. I like that we're getting some more darkness in there. I do think that we could go. I think we can go another iteration more. I think we can even go darker in some of these spaces in between there.
Okay.
And then in terms of the, so I would do that maybe, and then allow the light to fall off more quickly around the tree. So maybe like a little more darkness over here and over here.
All right.
For the characters. Same thing with his eyes. It's the cloudiness of the noise that's in there. I would reduce that a little bit, and then try and get maybe some reflection on the way you've got some reflection on the glass out here. Maybe a little bit of reflection there, and then something that like I would put like an eye ding on this, or maybe on the other side. Actually, no, maybe not. Maybe it would just be reflections because the light's coming in from behind them. But just something so it's not, because again, it just looks like his eyes are just desaturated entirely. And then for the girl, got light coming in here. I want to feel a little bit more of like this is a rim on this side.
Okay.
This in here, it still feels a little soft overall, and like I just want to feel some more specularity in there, and then her shirt, like this back end of her shirt's getting very bright, especially right there. So just look out for that. Also, with some of these too, it would be a big help to get some reflections on the windows. Like here, 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 here. I don't know if this is, I mean, this is closed, so just like a real subtle one, maybe around the fringes here. Just to kind of read up something in the environment back behind them.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Any other thoughts on this one? All right, next up we have Ayako. So I think this is looking really pretty. Diana, are you still here? Diana was happy in the chat, and she had the last note. So I think we're good. You guys ready to clap? Ready to ship it? All right, yeah, all right. All right, congratulations. This looks great. Let me know if you want to make any adjustments or if you want to render it at high res. I'd love to add this to the Hall of Fame, so please let me know. You can message me or just, yeah, or you can direct message me or however you like. Very cool. All right, Brenda. Are you here? Yeah. Hi, Brenda.
Yes, I'm here.
How's it going? So I like the darkness back behind. I think that's working out a lot better. Still saw. I like that the volumetric light is looking much better too. I think we can go like on this, just in here on this like left side of the window. I think that we can go a little bit darker in the vignette in there.
Okay.
The specular on this lock is a little strong. Maybe take that down a little bit, and then I wonder. I'm looking outside, and let me just mock this up real quick. I think that we might want to go a little brighter outside this window. Maybe. Let's see. All right. It's down a little bit. And then let's do this too. Just create a little more glow. All right. Maybe I'll push this over the top. Yeah, that might be a better indicator of it. Yeah, I think I could just because I think the exposure on the sky out there could go a little bit brighter. Maybe not quite up to this level. What do you guys think of going a little brighter on that? Just because again, like outside of the room.
I think it looks better brighter. Yeah. Right. Maybe not to the extreme,
but like, yeah. But something more like that.
Yeah.
I think would be good because then it's like, because all the lines are. Because like when you want to create God rays, you want it to be out of like something bright and glowy and happy, and that's the source of that. And then that falls into the room. And I do think that we could probably go a little, like if we want to focus in on these books, I think the books themselves can go a little bit brighter, especially these. And then, yeah. Okay, I'm not doing it that way. That was frustrating. Try it this way. Because I think if we want to focus in on these, because it feels like that's where, you know, these are some sacred texts or something, and we're kind of getting that. I think the overall color of the books could go a little bit brighter too. And then the pages may even you may even want to make those a little less dingy and a little more saturated.
Okay.
Yeah, but overall, this is yeah, you're making some really nice progress on this one. Cool. And then same thing with this window over here. Make that a little bit brighter too. Cool. All right, Dani. I'm not crazy about this spot out here. I don't know, like, just because I'm not quite sure what it is. I don't know if it's a reflection in the window. I guess it's the reflection of the book. Is that what it's meant to be?
Reflection of the light bulb on his head.
Oh, I see. You know, if I could see him a little bit more, you know what it was? Is I saw it and I was like, is that supposed to be the moon? Yeah, I guess we're just not seeing enough of the other reflections to really sell that. And then, with that being kind of bluer, I'm kind of questioning as to why, like, where the neutral light on her is coming from. because I don't see it from outside the window. That feels very blue. All the lights here feel blue and green, but she's getting hit with like kind of this neutral light that doesn't have a source. And then the light that is coming in on her it's like very sharp shadows on some of this stuff. But, and then if the book is going to be glowing like this, I would expect it to hit his face a little stronger. Just like, you know, again, I like the Pulp Fiction when they open the briefcase thing and the light glows up on them.
Yeah, and also then on the reflection, the light reflection, it would probably be much sharper and not so out of focus. That's why I thought it was the moon at the beginning, because it's so out of focus.
Yeah, like a depth of field moon. So yeah. All right, cool. We only got a few more minutes left, and I do want to get to these other people who are not named A through D. You guys are it's a very front-loaded alphabet in this group. So, Jordan, the one question I wanted to answer from you was you were asking about the dinginess of the eye. And all I mean by that is that it's a little dark and can generally use a little bit more saturation. Dingy, dusty, dirty, dark, like all, or dingy, dusty, dirty, all kind of mean the same thing in my lexicon. It's just a matter of making it a little brighter and then possibly adding some saturation in there. It doesn't look like this needs it once we kind of brighten it up.
Okay.
But that's all I really mean from that.
Cool. Yeah, I can definitely see how that would be a good improvement. It doesn't look kind of dusty.
Yeah, just something like that.
Yeah, I like.
The coffee cup looks better because it's not the main focus. This glow around here looks really nice. And same thing, maybe add a little bit of reflection in the window. Maybe just like a little something around the outside. We don't want to include the characters too much. Yeah.
I don't have a window. I think I deleted it. I think there's nothing there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then maybe just up here. Maybe let's pretend that these have windows in them and just put some chair up there.
I can do that.
I don't have a window. I just deleted it. Oh, that's a good answer too. Good answer. All right, and Ruby. I will open this up to the floor. What are you guys thinking of this? Do you guys have any notes? I think. I'm sorry. One thing. I do think that you've got a good thing on the pupil here. I think the iris can go a little brighter. The brown part of the eye can get a little brighter.
Okay. All right.
It'd be cool to see more glowiness on like the light on the robot.
The one on the head or the chest or both?
Both.
Yeah.
Like it's feeling like very like the outline is like very sharp. I'd imagine it'd be like kind of like more of blur, like a blooming, if it's that bright in that dark feel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
it's
look at Jordan's. Like this one has a little bit more of it.
Yeah. Like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a good call.
It feels cut out.
Yeah, that's fair. So just adding like you've got some diffusion on there. Just push it bright around those light sources.
All right, like
and then
good.
All right, good.
Sorry, I was gonna say, and then when you do that, it will allow you to kind of have a bigger, like softer spell, I think, which I think will be nice. So like the light pulls out a little bit more gradually from those two elements.
Okay. Just one question. So it'll be like adding the glow, and do I need to do like the rays like that, like the Jordans, or
I don't
just like glow by?
I don't think you'd necessarily do the rays, but Jasmine, what do you think?
No, I don't think it's not rays.
Just the
softness of it, yeah.
By the way, if you guys think that I like diffusion, Jasmine likes it even more than I do. So.
Okay.
This is true. I would diffuse the world if I could.
I know, just a diffusion filter on some eyeglasses or something and just walk around that way.
I thought of that when I said that. I was like, I should invent that.
Sorry, guys, we're shutting down the Academy of Animated Art to start a diffusion eyeglass business.
gonna take over.
It's gonna take over. All right, cool. Well, that's everyone for today. We are a few minutes shy of the 1 hour mark, so really good job today, everybody. And we will, I will see you all tomorrow. So I think today's the 29th, right? Yes.
Yes.
Lighting challenge due tomorrow. I'll make a post about that. The calendar month has just flown by and I lost track of that. So it's due tomorrow at midnight. We're really excited. We've got a huge new one coming in May. We've got some new things coming. Expect to see some emails about some changes to the way that we distribute our assets. And this is going to just a preview of it. The next lighting challenge is the most kind of the most elaborate. It's an animated shot. That's the kind of elaborate thing we've done so far. So we're really excited about it. Cool. All right, little teaser there. All right, I'll see you all very soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.